Yeah. Good afternoon to one and all. I am R.V. Kiran, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering. Today, in this video lecture, I am going to explain you about the two different types of form of teeth, that is the cycloidal profiles and the involute profiles. So, we have to deeply discuss the two types of forms of teeth, and this is my 65th lecture regarding to the subject kinematics of machinery. So, in the previous classes, we have discussed about the different classification and the nomenclature of the gauge, and we have also discussed about the advantages and disadvantages of the gauge. Today we are going to explain forms of the teeth. So basically in the actual practice, so in the actual working of the gauge, two types of teeth have been commonly used in the industries as well as the purposes, so general purposes. First one is the cycloidal teeth, and second one is the involute teeth. So you all know about the what is a cycloid point and what is a involute point. So in the engineering drawing subject, that is in the first year, first sem, we know about the different types of curves. So in that curves, cycloid is one type of curve and involute is another type of curve. So the two types of curves has been existed in that. So this cycloidal curve is existed on the types of cycloids, that is the epicycloid and hypocycloid types. So this has to be appear or having a tracing point. So we have to trace a point depending upon the curve created in that. So a cycloid is the curve which is traced out by a point on the circumference of a circle. So this has to be existed between the circumference of a circle which rolls without the slipping on a fixed straight line. So this has to be rolled without slipping on a fixed straight line. So you have to be taken from that a circle, so which is traced by a point on a circle. So when you are going on a cycle, that is bicycle, in the street of a tar road, you have to evaluate the curve of the tire. So you have to trace out the points in which the tire has to be touched by the tar road. So whenever a speed breaker is arrived, the curve may be in highest point, that is uprising of the point is done there. When somewhat a disturbances has been created in the road, it is low due to low point. So that is why some disturbances has been created to trace down this curve by a point. So that is done by rolling a circle without slipping. So without slipping on a fixed straight line. So here we are going to take it with a fixed straight line point, and when a circle rolls out without slipping on the outside of a fixed circle, the curve traced by a point on the circle is known as epicycloid. So this is due to the outside circle. So when circle rolls out without slipping on the outside of the fixed circle, that curve is called as the epicycloid point. Whenever, on the other hand, if a cycle is rolling without slipping on the inside of a fixed circle, so this has to be the two different points of the circle. it is on the outside and it is on the inside of the fixed circle. So the curve has to be traced out by a point on the circumference of a circle, then it is called as hypocycloid. So then the curve traced by a point on the circumference of circle is called as hypocycloid point. So these two has been the two differences of the cycloidal teeth. First one is the epicycloid and second one is the hypocycloid. So whenever we are going to refer the curves in the engineering drawing subject, you all know about these difference. And next one we are going to see the construction of the cycloidal teeth for the rack gear, that is the rack and pinion gear. So we are going to take with the rack gear only when it is on the fixed line. So you have to take the fixed line, that is why you are going to take the rack point. So you can see the fixed point. So this is the fixed point, which is the rack, or it is called as pitch line. So this line is called as the pitch line, in which it pretends to be the rack showing in the figure. And whenever we are going to roll this circle, so a circle named C is rolling in the anti-clockwise direction without slipping, which is on the above of this pitch line. So this can be rolling in the anti-clockwise direction in the above of the pitch line. Then the point P on the circle traces the epicycloid PA. So this is the P point which touches the pitch line with the surface of the circle. So this is going to be traced out from the point PA, and this represents the face of the cycloidal tooth profile. So this represents the face of cycloidal tooth profile. And we have to roll the another circle, that is circle D. So you have been seeing the downside part of the pitch line, that is the D circle. So this D circle also rotating with the without slipping. So these are going to be without slipping below the pitch line, and then the P point on the circle D traces the hypocycloid one, and in the before one it is going to be traced out the point of epicycloidal one. So that is the difference between the 2 points, and the profile BPA indicates the one side of the cycloidal rack tooth. So that indicates the cycloidal rack tooth of one side. So you can see the figure. Then similarly, the two curves are going to be taken from the opposite end, that is the opposite side of the element. So we are taking it as P dash and A dash, and P dash and B dash. So these are the two curves here. First one is the P dash A dash. Second one is the P dash B dash line, which is forming the opposite side of the tooth profile, which are traced by the point P dash. When the circle C and D roll in the opposite direction. So this has to be rolled in the opposite directions. So whenever this has to be formed and the tooth profiles has been traced out by the point P dash. So in this point, this is tracing by the point P dash, and when the circles C and D roll in the opposite directions. So this has to be rolled out in the opposite directions. Next, the cycloidal teeth of a gear may be constructed as below also. So you can see the different types of construction here. So in the earlier figure, we have taken the rack and now we have taken the gear, that is a pinion. So it is called as pinion also. So in the earlier construction, we have taken only the rack type gear and this is indicated by the straight line. Now these are indicated by the curves. So this has been, the circle has been indicated by the curves point only. So you may see it in the figure also. So the circle C is rolled without slipping on the outside of the pitch circle. So first of all, we have to take the circle C is rolled without slipping on the outside of the circle, that is outside of the pitch circle, and the point P on the circle C traces the epicycloid point PA. So this has to be tracing point of the epicycloid point. So the epicycloid point to be taken is the point PA, which represents the face of the cycloidal tooth. So that is to be indicated as the face of the cycloidal tooth. Then the circle D is rolled on the inside of the pitch circle, and the point P increases the hypocycloid point. So that point circle D traces the hypocycloid point PB, which represents the flank of the tooth profile. So that to be represented as the tooth profile. So the flank should be the other point. Next, we have to take the profile BPA. So that is the curved structure is on one side of the cycloidal tooth. So that is on the one side of the cycloidal tooth. And the opposite of the tooth is explained in the above section. So we have already explained the opposite side of the tooth section. So in the figure you can show the, you can see the curvature of these 2 points. So this is the BPA curve and B dash P dash A dash curve, which is to be indicated as the tracing point of the pitch circle in which C and D are the two circles in which this has to be rotated in the anti-clockwise direction, which you can show it in the figure also. Next one is the second type of the form of the, that is the involute teeth. So these involute teeth has been formed like a curve. So you can see it in the figure also. So from the points of the circle, this has to be generating a curve like this, which is like a snail point. So మనకి ఒక థ్రెడ్ కానీ రోల్ చేస్తే ఎలా ఉంటుందో అలా ఉంటుందమ్మా, కర్వేచర్ లో వస్తుంది. So an involute of a circle has to be taken like a plane curve, which is generated from the point on a tangent. So this has to be generated by a tangential point which rolls on the circle without slipping. So this has to be occur without slipping, as we have seen in the cycloidals also. So in the same type as occurred in the cycloidal section, this involute section curve is also a tracing point from the circle. This has to be off without the slipping. So this has occurred in the without slipping position. And in connection with the two three wheels, the circle is known as the base circle. So you can see the base circle here in the point. So this is the base circle in which these points has been generated in connection with the three wheels. And the involute has been traced in that point. So then we have to take the point A. So let A be the starting point of the involute, and the base circle is divided into number of equal parts. So we can divide the circle into n number of equal parts. So based upon the uh, purpose, we have to divide this circle into number of equal parts. So generally in these involutes, we are going to divide the section into 12 equal parts. So basically in the engineering drawing section, so they have been divided that into 12 number of equal parts. So here we can take the any number of equal parts. There is no limit for that, and divide the number of equal parts as a P1, P1, P2, P2, P3, etc. So this has to be the generated points. Then the tangents occurring from that point, that is P1, P2, P3, etc. are drawn, and the length P1 A1, P2 A2, P3 A3 are the equal to the arcs taken on that. So that has to be the lengths taken from that part, and AP1, AP2, AP3 are the set of points from that tangent. And the instant A3, that is the tangent A3T to the involute, is perpendicular to P3 A3 position. P3 A3 is the normal, which is taken as the normal to the involute. So we know about the tangent and normal condition, and in other words, it is also taken as the normal at any point of an involute is a tangent to the base circle. So that is taken as the tangent section to the base circle. So in the picture you can see the tangents. So this is the rolling tangent here. That is two positions. That is two positions here. And this is the base circle which is rotating on the points. That is A, P1, P2, and P3. So these three are the intersection points on the line. That is on the tangent. And these three are the curves formed from the tangent. That is A1, A2, A3. So this is the involute here, which is taken from that point. So the meshing is done at that point. So this is the common point of the curve. So that is the meshing point. So that is depending on the formation of the curves. Next one we go to the comparison between the two, that is two gates, that is the involute and cycloidal gates. So generally in the actual practice, the involute gates have been more commonly used compared to the cycloidal gears due to the advantages of the involute gears. So there have been widely uses of the involute gears. That has been taken from that. So that depends on the advantages of the involute gears. So the most important advantage from the involute gate sections is the center distance of the pair of involute pairs that can be varied within the limits section. So that can be varied due to the limits of the pairs, and that is the most important advantage without changing the velocity ratio. Where velocity ratio means the speed ratio of the two gates with meshing, and this is not true for the cycloidal gates. So in the by seeing it in the cycloidal gates, it is not true, which requires the exact center distance to be maintained. So that to be maintain an extra exact center distance. And in the involute gates, the pressure angle from the start of the engagement of teeth to the end of the engagement of the teeth which remains constant. So the pressure angle, so the pressure angle remains constant from starting point to the end point without any difference between the two engagements. That is the start of the engagement of teeth and the end of the engagement of the teeth. There is no difference between that. And next, it is necessary for the smooth running and less wear of the gears also. So that has to be also checked with that point. So that is also one of the important things to be included in that. So it is necessary for smooth running and less wear of the gears. So less wear means it has high life of gears, but in the cycloidal teeth, the pressure angle is maximum at the beginning of the engagement, and then it is going to be decreased and reduces to zero at the pitch point. So at the pitch point condition, it comes to zero. That is the ending of the engagement of tooth. So that starts to be decreasing and again becomes maximum at the end of the engagement. So that is the biggest problem with the cycloidal gears. And this results in the smooth running of the gears, and the face and flank of the involute edge have been generated by a single curve, whereas in cycloidal curves, double curves have been required. So we have already seen in the before slides that the cycloidal curves needs two types of curves, that is the epicycloid and the hypocycloid curves. So the two curves has been required for that. So it is called the double curves. Thus, the involute teeth are very easy to manufacture than the cycloidal. So that is also one of the good advantage of that. So in the involute system, the basic crack of the has the straight teeth and same can be cut with the simple tools. So that it has been cut with the simple tools section. So the rack is straight in structure, and the only disadvantage of the involute teeth is that the interference occurred with the pinions are having smaller number of teeth. So whenever these gears have been going to be meshed, so it have very smaller number of teeth. So it is having the pinions having the smaller number of teeth. and this may be avoided by altering the heights of the addendum and addendum of the mating teeth. So this has been adjusted from the pitch circle. So the above part of the pitch circle is the addendum position, and the lower part is the addendum section. So these two positions have been adjusted when the interference is occurred. So this may be avoided by altering the heights of the addendum and addendum points at the mating teeth by the or the angle of obliquity of the teeth. So this may be taken angle of obliquity. So that is the basic difference between the two gates. That is the involute and cycloidal tooth, and on par from the cycloidal tooth. So the advantage of the involute gates, that is the advantages of the involute gates is higher than the cycloidal gates. So generally in the actual practice also the involute gates are more commonly used compared to the cycloidal gates. So compared to the cycloidal gates, these have been widely used. So depending upon the number of teeth also this has been divided. So based on the interference section of points, so they have been divided. So that is about the advantages of the involute gates. Next we can see the advantages of the cycloidal gates. So in these cycloidal gates, it has also some advantages over involute section. So since the cycloidal teeth have wider flanks, the cycloidal gates are stronger than the involute. So due to the wider flanks of the cycloidal gates, so that must be stronger than the involute gates. So that is the only section which is the material has been stronger because of the wider flanks and for the same pitch condition. So this is due to the same pitch condition of the involute gates and the cycloidal teeth. So in the cycloidal gate section, the contact takes place between a convex flank and a concave surface. So when we are going to take the cycloidal gates, contact section or the meshing section is between the convex flank and the concave surface, whereas in the involute case, the convex surfaces are in contact. So you know about the concave and the convex sections. That is the outside part and the inside part of the two sections. So which is in contact with the gates. So you can see it in this picture. So that is the two point of contact sections. So from the points P1, P2, P3, the tangent touch at these points. So that is called the path of contact or point of contact points. So that needed to be the tangential section of the base circle. In the cycloidal teeth also. So in the cycloidal gates also, you can see the point of contact. So the point of contact is between the pinion type, so that is the gear type, which is in the circular position. So the first pitch circle is in the circular position of the gears.
అన్న ఉండమని చెప్పాలన్న ఆడు మళ్ళీ వెళ్ళిపోతాడు.
So that is the only difference of the two sections. So the meshing part is the main one in the interference point. So in the cycloidality, it is taken for the both rack and pinion type, but in the involute we are going to take it in the rack type only. So this has to be occurred in the two sections, that is the convex surfaces in contact and the concave surfaces in contact. So this condition results in the less wear in cycloidal gear as compared to involute gear. So this is the only condition which is going to reduce the wearness of the part of the gear of cycloidal curves compared to the involute gears. So however, in the gear positions, the wearness has been in negligible character. So that is negligible type. So that is of the negligible type. So in these cycloidal gears, you can see it in the picture also. The rack and pinion gears are of two types. First one is on the pitch line, that is the straight pitch line, and second one is on the curved pitch circle. So pinion means the gear section, the rack means a straight section in which the toothed gears have been inscribed on that. That is of the two sections. So that is rolled by two circles. That is C and D circles has been rolled in the anti-clockwise direction to generate a tracing point between the two. And in the involute teeth also it has been done by the same characteristics of points, but here a single circle has been taken to roll out the condition in which n number of points has been generated, that is P1, P2, P3, so on. So when we have to divide the circle into n number of equal parts, we are going to obtain that number of equal parts as the same contact points. So that is also an advantage for the cycloidal gear too, which gets the less wearness. And last point, in the cycloidal gears, the interference does not occur at all. So when coming to the involute gears, it will be occur. But in the cycloidal gates, it does not occur at all. Though there are advantages of the cycloidal gates, but they have been override by its greater simplicity and flexibility of the involute gate. So we have already so we have already known that these cycloidal gate tools have wider flanks. So therefore, the cycloidal gates are very stronger. So due to these have been overweighed by its greater simplicity and the flexibility of the involute gates. So these are the different advantages of the cycloidal gates over involute gates. By here, I am going to end my lecture. Thank you.